Hi, everybody, and welcome to or welcome back to Friday Night Comics at the Sequential Artists Workshop. Okay. SAW is a 501c3 nonprofit with online courses. You can find what's going on at learn.sawcomics.org. We've got fall courses coming up, graphic medicine, a 3-month deep dive with Maureen Burdock. And next week, we have interview comics with Miriam Levicki. That's Maureen Burdock's course that I just mentioned. It's a 3-month deep dive intensive. We also have on site at our brick and mortar school, week-long comics workshop with Carly Schuster. If you're in the Gainesville area, check that out. And again, all of our offerings are listed at the learn.sawcomics.org. Also, check out Seesaw Comics, where artists from the Saw community post their work, including that Pursuit of Unhappiness guy. And you can also find on Seesaw the work that you do here at the Friday Night Comics. Check the chat for links. You can upload your work and we put it in a PDF and post it on Seesaw right here where it's circled. Look for that little avatar. SAW survives from tuitions and donations from people just like you. If you donated tonight, thank you. That helps pay our guest artists, and you can also support SAW at our PayPal and Patreon sites. Or consider becoming a sustaining SAW member, donating member. Share what you do tonight on social media with the hashtag Friday Night Comics or at Comics Workshop, and join us for free anytime at the SAW sharing site on Mighty Network, members.sawcomics.org. Please, no inappropriate speech or imagery, no trolling or hate speech or explicit, etc. Thank you. When in doubt, keep it PG-13. You can draw anything you want. This really pertains to sharing. If it's a little too, because sometimes we have kids and parents. And enjoy. Tonight we have Yao Xiao. Did I say it right? Sort of in the neighborhood. With
Yes.
write a one-page comic with the rhythm of ancient Chinese poetry. And if I can get my little toolbar out of the way, I'll stop the share and hand it over to you. Hi, Yao.
Hi. Hi everybody. Let me share my screen and start my own presentation. I'm really excited to be here with you all tonight. I'm a big fan of Saw, and I've always wanted to do a workshop. And I'm so excited that this workshop has gathered so much interest. So I hope this will be a very interesting addition to your comic practice. And I want to fly through some background of how I arrived at the idea for this workshop. I have a book called Everything is Beautiful and I'm Not Afraid. And this is a graphic comics, graphic poetry, very loosely based on my own reflections about life and my relationship to home. And a lot of the comics that I do, I started drawing them very inspired by poetry, contemporary and classical Chinese poetry. But for me, it took maybe 100 comics to think about how I arrived at this particular rhythm that I write with. And one of the things that I do when I compose my comics is to start from an observation from life in the present. So this is the entry point that I want to introduce our workshop with. We are using a new technique today. It has a different structure. But besides the structure, I want us to think about how could this all start with our own observation and our own reflections about life in the present. This is a comic that was in my collection this came up because I was dealing with a theme of being an immigrant and thinking about home. And it occurred to me to combine a very famous poem from the classical era in Tang Dynasty in China, but also is a poem that is from my childhood. A lot of kids who grew up in China know how to recite this. It starts with an observation about moonlight falling on the floor. However, in a transition of looking up at the moon, the poem ends with um, lowering the head and thinking about my home and my hometown. So I want to open with this to share the context of how this ancient Chinese poetry is used in my work. I very much incorporate it into my talking about my own life as an immigrant, as a person who lived in New York with roots in China in the very present. However, I want to introduce this genre of poetry to you as it has influenced me very deeply. I think in a very intuitive way. And I want to give you some background on Tang Dynasty poetry. So I would start with saying that Tang Dynasty poetry refers to poetry written in China in the years 618 to 903. That is considered the Tang Dynasty, and then this is considered kind of a golden age of poetry writing. During the Tang Dynasty, poetry played an important part of social life. Not only scholars and official poets, but also in private life, children was reciting poetry. Women also compose poetry, so it is widely available, this technique, to everyone. And the structure that I will touch on today of Tang Dynasty poetry, it traveled into other form of narrative, and over the centuries, it was summarized into a narrative structure that is unique to literature from East Asia. And this is another poem, just like the poem that I showed you in the beginning. This is a very quintessential poem from the Tang Dynasty. I translated into comics myself. So I will read this to you, and this will be kind of taking this moment to slow down a bit and to experience the rhythm that is in this poem. So this is Blue Mountains Waterfall by Li Bai, and translated by me. Smoke rises from Blue Mountain like incense. A waterfall hangs before the river. The water falls straight down, 3,000 feet. Maybe it's the Silver River coming down from our galaxy. This is one of the other poems that a lot of kids who grew up in China could recite. It was one of the first things that we learned in school. And over centuries, this structure got summarized into 4 parts. And I'll introduce that in a minute. But I want to highlight the characteristics of Li Bai's poetry. It has this fleeting romantic feeling. I think that is what jumps out, especially for children. I think structure, rhyming, all the formalities of poetry writing, it is also very, very well done, but also the flight of feeling and the idea that we can go from watching smoke rising like incense, and at the end, in 4 lines, arriving at thinking about the galaxy and our relationship to the universe. I think this is the feeling that has stayed with me for a very long time. And this is the feeling that I want us to think about how that can stay with us, as well as this narrative structure. And the structure, let me, before I go to the next one, the structure, it was summarized over centuries into 4 parts. One is the start is called the beginning, and in Chinese it's qi. And then this part begins the subject, and the second part is a follow-up to the beginning. So a waterfall hangs before the river is a follow-up to the smoke rising. So the smoke rises from the waterfall. And then the third one is a very critical piece, and we'll get to write our own comics later. The third part, it is unique to Tang Dynasty poetry. It was summarized into this component called the turn, sometimes called a twist. It's not necessarily a plot twist. I like to say that it's a movement in feeling. So the line says the water falls straight down 3,000 feet, and in my mind, this pulls us out from the close up, and we start to move further away, which helps us arrive at the conclusion. We're looking at the galaxy now. We have moved further away. So to me, the 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the progression of moving from something very close to us, very present, to something that is far away or more conceptual, abstract, or romantic. And I will show you one more of my poetry translation. This one, anyone who had studied Chinese poetry or grew up in China would recognize. And I made it into a comic without words, so we can really feel that rhythm a bit. And we can kind of move away from thinking about the rhyming and the words into thinking about how we feel this rhythm of the 4 parts, 4 section transition. So this is the 1-page comic that I did based on a poem by Luo Binwang, who was known to compose this when he was a child. So this was maybe the first poem. So I showed 3 poems that are almost a lot of people could recite this in China. This one's called Ode to Geese. I like to call it Ode to Goose. I just think it's just such a love letter to this wonderful animal, and it talks about different aspects of the animal. And you can see with the English translation, even it preserves this 4-line structure, and it maps very well to the 4-panel structure of a traditional four-panel comic strip. So I was very excited about this. I'm not the first person to notice this beautiful coincidence between a 4-panel comic and a four-line structured Tang Dynasty ancient Chinese poem. So very interestingly, Osamu Tezuka, who is known as the godfather of manga in Japan, published in his book How to Draw Manga in 1977, specifically pointing out this the structure in Japan is called Kishoten Katsu, mapping to the 4 panels. So he even has this caricature of himself experiencing this rhythm of beginning, follow up, a twist or a turn, his upside down, and then a conclusion of the story. And he writes in this book, How to Draw Manga, to start with a 4-panel manga before you expand into a long form. And then the diagram on the right is very interesting. It maps this structure to how to tell a long form story and the form of the story as a building. So I'm very excited about this, and I would love to talk about this more. But I would like to focus the workshop on us making some comics together based on the 4-section structure of the ancient Tang Dynasty poetry of the beginning, the follow-up, the turn, and the conclusion. And it is 7:15, so I would like to start running my my guided workshop. And how I would like to conduct this is I will talk a little more in depth about the feeling that how the structure feels to me. After all, it is about, for me, it's about writing personal stories, and the structure is there to help guide us to where to go. So I want us to flow the way that you want it to. And we don't need to get too formulaic, so to speak. So the first one, I want to talk about the beginning. So this is part one of this four-part structure. The beginning, in terms of comics, I would say the first line of our comic that we'll make today, or maybe the first panel, maybe the first three panels, it can open with an observation about something in front of you or a thought that you have off the top of your head. So a lot of Tang Dynasty poetry was composed in situations of improvisation. People will have parties where they riff off poetry of each other to notice something in the present and just to see how it develops. So in the opening, something that is very immediate, very present. I would like to give us 5 minutes, and then we'll draw this first panel together. And in 5 minutes, Michael will tell us it's time to move on, and I'll go to the next.
So yeah, should everybody prepare a 4 panel on one page, or how would you suggest we do it?
So this is a great question. How about we just do one panel at a time? So we'll draw the panel border, and then we'll move on to the next panel. So if you have a piece of paper in front of you, um, I would say draw the first panel based on what you would like to talk about. Because we don't have to make it a 2x2 grid for panel. It can be a one page in any shape. How about that? Does that work?
Yeah, so it sounds like you don't want people to get too far ahead of themselves so they can stay spontaneous. So if they want to just do 1 panel a page, that's cool. If they want to do two on a page, so is that fair to say? Feel your way through, but let's just start with the first panel.
Yeah, let's start. I think the first section. So if you draw one panel and it turned into three, like this one with the goose, it is 3 panels. So all of this is is section one, if that makes sense.
Does that make sense to people? If anybody's confused, just say so in chat. I don't know. I don't think I'm not seeing anything in chat, so I think everybody's cool. So I should start the 5 minute timer.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
start the 5 minutes time.
We're at the midpoint of that first 5 minutes.
Great. And then I'm thinking that if you have extra time, you could create a few more panels. So it's not necessarily has to be a single panel. It is we're kind of meditating on the beginning of this comic.
Got 1 minute left. Okay, ready for step 2.
All right, so let me go back to this and step 2. The next session is the follow-up of the first section. This is where more improvisation can come in. I would like us to think about what happens after what we had just introduced. Um, my example was that maybe I see a room full of books. Maybe that reminds you of other books you have read, or if it's about drinking coffee, what's the last time you had coffee? Let the first panel gives you hints about where this comic goes next. So we are on a different section, even though it still feels like the beginning. I like this follow-up section because it is not exactly reintroducing the topic, and it is a organic development of what happens after we had introduced the subject. We kind of are like exploring it a little more or just creating the next incident. So we're thinking about yes and what's next. So less than 5 minutes. So we are uh meditating and think about the second section, which is the follow-up. So, Michael, you can start the 5 minute time.
Do you want to leave the previous slide up just in case people want to refer to it?
this one, can I leave this one
Yeah,
up?
yeah, follow up.
Okay, yeah, I think I accidentally pressed the press next, so I have turned it back. So
No
right now
worries.
we are on section 2, which is the follow-up.
Yeah. We're at the midpoint. Another 2.5 minutes. Okay, we're ready for the turn.
And so the turn, a lot of attention is paid to this. The turn is often described as something unexpected or something that carries the first section towards another place. So I think this is where in the 3 act structure, people may think that's the confrontation or that's the climax or conflict. But I want us to shift over into the mindset of this Chinese poetry structure. It carries you to another place. It's not necessarily a conflict or a plot twist. Um, but I like to think there's something surprising about it. There's something that suggests movement, maybe a change of mood. It's departing somehow. So this is the beautiful subtlety I really want to introduce into this process. So a turn in thinking, a change of moods. Let the two panels give you hints about where this turn should go. The turn can be a feeling of flow, of traveling, or reflection. So this I would like us to spend 5 minutes also. And then just to quickly check in, I was drawing along and I have one panel that's my beginning, but then the follow-up, I have two panels. So feel free to experiment on the amount of panels based on the amount of time that we have. So we can start the timer, 5 minutes for the time.
Starting now. That's the midpoint, 2.5 more minutes. Okay, that's 5 minutes.
Okay, that's great. I want to pause for a check-in before we go to the conclusion. I want to share with you the three sections that I have drawn so far. So I kind of left myself a bottom corner to be filled by the conclusion. So this is where I think the poetry has it gives us a little bit of tension because we started very loosely, some observation in the present, and then we simply followed up with that, and then we were like, okay, let's go somewhere else. But then immediately you need to come up with a conclusion. So this is kind of the art of this style of poetry. It seems to start very easy, but this is almost like a competition or like a test for good poets. How do you drive this home? So it's a lot like a 4 panel comic strip. It's kind of this hidden skill that's in there, or this like hidden tension that is in this form. So I want to share with you what I came up with so far to help us think about the conclusion. So I wrote jet lagged. I had an extra cup of coffee, and then I wrote I just came back from. Oh, you're right, Michael. This is let me see if I can. Let me just read it. And then I said I just came back from spending time in China, and I drew the coffee shop I was drinking coffee from. The coffee shop had beautiful lights. So that's my beginning and follow up. The beginning was that I had an extra cup of coffee. The follow up was that I just came back from spending time in China. That's why I had was jet lagged. And then turning my attention to the coffee shop, it had beautiful lights. So kind of staying on the same subject, still drinking coffee at the coffee shop. And then with the turn, I was thinking about a sense of traveling, maybe literally, since this was about travel. So I wrote that my hometown was sunny in the fall, just like this. And I began drawing a scene of spending time with my family in my childhood. So this is so far my improvisation following these prompts. So I would say this has taken me to another place and another time. So this is kind of a direct kind of traveling. But the conclusion, we're gonna drive this home. The last section is called conclusion. Is this if this comic home is a leaf that has been falling slowly from the sky, this is where it touches the ground. So what would you like to say and show at the end of this comic? Where would you like it to land now that you have reached the end? How does the mood feel? And what is this comic about? So in the poetry composition, I imagine in the Tang Dynasty, this is kind of this mic drop moment for the poets. This is like you just show off how what kind of poet you are. Is this profound about universe? Is this like, oh no, I'm just a slice of life kind of writer? I've been describing these things to you and slowly taking you to another place. So where have I taken you? What is this about? So you can be, there are poems that are very subtle about where you land, like the one with the boots. There's not really like a kind of like, there's not like a meaning of this. You just land as this is all about the boots, but still it's about the movement. Or you can be very grandiose and very grand about this. This is about um, this really big idea. So this is where it is a matter of taste and skill for the individual writer, the individual artist. What do they want their art to look and feel? So this is where you take it away and you take it to where you want this to land. So I want to emphasize it really doesn't have to be tied up perfectly in a bow. It doesn't have to say, I would like to express this with my poem. It really just have to end because of the form. Conveniently, it forces us to think about anything that goes here is a conclusion. So what is it going to be? So I'll still be like loose and improv about this, but there's a little bit of urgency to conclude this idea. So let's do. I said 10 minutes to think about the section. Michael, do you think that's okay? Or maybe 8 minutes so that we have a little time.
I like 8 minutes.
Okay, let's do 8 minutes because I wanted to spend a little time thinking about it overall, just like me reading what we had already written and put slightly more time and thought into the ending. So I would like us to do 8 minutes.
Okay, I'll start it now. That was 4 minutes. You have 4 more minutes. Okay.
Okay, great. So we have finished the last section, which is the conclusion as well. And I have turned off my virtual background so you can see my comic better.
Could you stop sharing your screen so I can make you big so everybody can see your comic?
Oh, yes. Let's do this.
There we
Oh,
go.
yeah, that is much better. So this is the comic that I was drawing along with you. It's a one page. It isn't strictly a four panel comic, but I would say it's a four section comic. So I it's also it is mirrored, right? So I would read it. So jet lagged, I had an extra cup of coffee. I had just come back from spending time in China. This coffee shop has beautiful lights. So the first panel is the beginning, and then these two panels I wanted to follow up. Um, One is to think about why I was jet lagged, and the other one was where I was in the present. So pretty slowly paced. And then the third one was the turn. I wrote that my hometown was sunny in the fall like this, just like this. This is the transition and the turn, thinking about, okay, so this is where I am in the present. This is where I would like to specifically talk about this aspect of being here in the present. Kind of related to the two section at first, but also take this somewhere new, somewhere else, and somewhere not totally expected. And then the last panel, I had a very hard time coming up with a line, so I actually did it without words. It is I actually just did a wordless panel.
Hmm.
So that was my thinking around this and meditating on the conclusion of what this outcome is. I want to emphasize that it is totally okay to go in and out of work. Since we're coming from poetry, we don't necessarily have to we don't have to use language of words to tell our story. So I like the resting on image. That's my decision for this piece.
Beautiful.
And thank you. And I want us to have some time to share our work. So Michael, I'll turn it over to you to facilitate some sharing.
Yeah, if you just raise your hand, I see Gail. And let's start with Gail and then Justin and Alan. Hi, Gail.
Hi. Um, Thank you so much, Yao. This was wonderful. And luckily I was able to think of something to draw about right away. So I had no trouble coming up with a story. Okay, so this is where my story starts. This all happened yesterday, by the way, so it's very recent. It's late and I'm tired, but I said I would go to a thing.
So great.
I hate driving across the Bronx, especially at rush hour. I am cranky and there are a million cars.
Nice.
But then I got there and everyone was so friendly and welcoming and passionate about the environment. It was a Bronx town hall on environmental justice. Driving home, I felt invigorated instead of tired. There were fewer drivers on the road. I enjoyed the sounds and smells of a late summer evening, noticing nature all around, even in the Bronx.
Nice.
So great.
Thank you so much. This was really great. I appreciate it.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, I loved this. Such a great result. And I love that it's about nature and the environment now came together.
Right.
Thanks for sharing, Gail. I see Justin next, then Michael, Laura, Jen.
Okay. All right. Here are the first two panels, and the first one is my new hat. You can see there. And then in the next panel, it's raining on my new hat. And then in that next panel down below, a bird is nested in my hat to get out of the rain. And then in the very last panel, the sun has come out and the bird has flown and left me a gift. So that's
amazing.
that is my poem. And I'm not a poet.
That is great. I love that both what comics we've seen use the turn in very different ways, but they both turned us towards something surprising and something new. But somehow we're still in the story.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks for sharing, Justin. See Michael next.
I found it easy to get in the right mood for this one. This is called Time to Fly because I'm thinking about getting ready for flying from LA to Toronto tomorrow.
Mm.
But this first panel is showing a bird sitting on a nest. The sun is coming up, and the words are weather cooling. The second panel shows the sun a little bit higher, and the bird's head is pointed in a slightly different direction, and the words are time to think about flying south. The next panel has the sun getting up a little higher, the bird turns its head a little bit more, and the words are, will I remember the way? And the last panel has the bird looking up into the sky. The sun is a little further up into the sky, and the words are, they look like they know what they're doing.
This is so great. I love the use of the turns. It's very beautiful. But then the landing is also so funny. I I'm really happy that you get to come up with this in 20 minutes.
Thank you.
The simplicity is really in the spirit of this type of poetry, but
Well,
also it has this like casual ending.
I was thinking about going on my own trip, but I was inspired by seeing Canada geese arriving on their migration over near Silver Lake yesterday morning. So I sort of combined my thinking about a trip with wondering about the birds. Thank you.
Wow, so great. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
Thanks, Michael. Laura's up.
Thanks. This was a really great exercise. I loved it. Michael, would you mind reading for me? Because I can't hold it up and read at the same time.
Sure. You came home having climbed 7 mountains. I'd been away too, and had slipped into a valley of pure, heartbroken grief. Lee Simone's Meredith contemplates Degas' 105-year-old little dancer at the Baltimore Museum of Art. Luminous stars dance in the sky, shining their light on love, beauty, and sadness alike.
Thank you.
Wow,
Wow.
so good. The mood is so beautiful, and I love the beginning and the follow up has such a nice flow, and I love the image in the beginning of the having climbed 7 mountains. Everything is really wonderful.
Thanks, Laura. Jen's up next.
Okay, so I haven't written in the text yet, but I got the drawings in. So first you see my table that's right in front of me and what's there. And it's gonna say something like all of my favorite things are set out in order around me. It's very now, that's exactly what's happening here. And then it's gonna be something like all I need are my 2 hands to create something. This one might just be silent, I think.
Mm.
and then it's gonna say something like, so then it shows me doing all of my other things that are not drawing. And then it's gonna say something like, if only I could sit down, imagine all of the places I might go. Or
Nice.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the going away. The departure is literally a departure from drawing. It's like
Yeah.
singing. I love the singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is great. I love the literally starting with what's in front of you. A lot of Tang Dynasty poetry is literally composed this way. People just rip off what they see and then becomes a poem. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a quick observation, which is usually at this time people look worn out, they've been drawing. But tonight everybody looks reinvigorated, like they just had a very
Yeah.
restful, meditative experience. Very interesting. I
I
see
love
Al
that.
next, then Victor.
Okay. Which is mixed. So, can I share the screen? I did mine on online again. I'm not online on my
Now you
computer.
can.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I had a hard time thinking about what to draw because what to do a comic about, because the main thing on my mind right now is that I'm just not getting enough sleep lately, so I'm really tired, but that didn't sound like a good subject for a comic. But then I couldn't think of anything else, so I did end up doing a comic about that anyway. So I don't know if it really fits too well, but this is the
Great.
biggest thing on my mind. Can you see it? Or yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I am so tired. I've been staying up far too late. I don't know when I last got to bed before midnight. Every night I intend to, and every night I stay up working on something. Tonight I have to break the cycle. Tonight I have to get some sleep. Then I can stop feeling like a zombie and start feeling like I'm too tired to think of a good simile. So
This is great.
I don't know. So that was my comic. I don't know if that's a good turning point or anything, but that is the biggest thing on my mind right now. So
No,
I
it's
nap as soon as
great.
possible.
And I love you did a black and white high contrast, very finished looking comic in 20 minutes. Maybe that is why you're so tired.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's actually not my usual art style, so I had to go with something slightly different for this one, but yeah, just that's what I ended up with anyway.
Yeah, I love the voice in that came through. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for coming after working on so many things.
Thanks, Alan. I see Victor, Hao Yi, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. Sorry, Chris and Nicole. Did you get a little unmute prompt, Victor?
He knows.
You know what? I'm gonna go to the next person and then come back to you, because once you're spotlit, it's not so easy to ask to unmute. So how you?
Oh, okay. I am
You may have
oh,
better luck if you turn off your virtual
Yeah. Oh dear. Okay. Do I need to have a mirror thing on, or is it the right? Oh, okay.
We see it the right way. You see it a little backwards, maybe.
Okay. So really obsessed with this like sort of cyclical cycle. But anyway, so here there are very few words. So here is I don't want to go to work. My messy desk and room. So I have to describe the images because it's a sketch and I'm learning the drawing skills. Foot going in a shoe. Uh, what is this? Um, I guess okay. So this is the first bit, and then here is sort of just like quiet suburban scenes, like branch, garage door in my lane, a no stopping sign. my tiny apartment balcony thing with a laundry stack. And then here 3, we have one long panel, which I struggled to draw, at a train station. I guess it's like the first scene of a group of people, which is the turn. And then I wanted to do like a copy paste of 4, which is but then like this person, I guess, is me, and I have my arms raised or whatever, the protagonist. And what's happened here, I guess this is part of 4 as well, these 2 little ones, which is getting a text message in my claw from the state government saying that public transport is free for this weekend because of many delays and of punitive other government policies elsewhere in the government that current public servants are trying to work around. So I guess that's my little daily commute scene. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice. I like the circular composition that goes in as a creative use of the grid. I think that is very cool. Yeah. And then you're not doing like one panel for each section, you do several for each section. So I love to see that the structure is kind of hidden. So I think that's cool. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to Victor. I'm hitting ask to unmute. There we are.
Hello, is this working? I hope so.
Yeah, we see
Okay,
it now.
okay, I'm glad it's working now. Sorry about that. So mine, I have it on my sketchbook right here. I did the 4-step format. Oh, the quality is really bad on my computer. I don't know if that shows for people, but we have the beginning right here. I just wanted to do something to, I don't know, to be funny, I suppose. So I have like a little mushroom guy here, just, man, I don't know if my quality looks so bad. I'm so sorry if you can't.
We can see the contours, the ghostly shapes of them.
All right,
If you put it up close, we can
maybe,
see
yeah,
it a
let's
lot better.
see. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. Thank you, thank you. So that's supposed to be a worm right there. That's just a guy walking up, and then he brings his own worm, and he asks like, I don't know, I wanted to think of something funny, stupid. So I was like, oh, let's just do like some battle, some kind of Pokemon parody joke. So it's just like, hey, let's just fight. And then this little silly character just says like, "Oh, you're very outmatched. Like you're incredibly outmatched." And then in the final panel for the conclusion, the worm just has like, I don't know. I don't know if it's funny, just like a cartoon bomb that they have in like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes, and the worm just kind of it's like it's over. It just lies there with no emotion. And yeah, and that's kind of my comic. I don't know. I thought that was humorous, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I thought that was really cute as well. And then I love the reveal at the end. Absolutely building up tension and then giving us the backdrop. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. I see Chris next.
Thanks, Michael. Mine's just a simple vignette. I love to see my family at the end of the day. Everyone flows to their own place. One of my son games, the other one's on his phone. My wife likes to work. Frantically cooking because I'm responsible for dinner. Togetherness.
Oh, this is really great. I love your drawing style. And it captures their characters really well. And I like the turn is the practically cooking, thinking about the energy that the energy shifts in the third panel. I love that.
Thanks very much. This was nice.
That's great, Chris.
Thank
for
you.
sharing. And we have Nicole, then Rebecca, then Kate, Michaela.
So fun, thank you. Mine, I sort of wrote out a whole poem first because was just some things on my mind, and then it sort of the words changed, so I did a lot of scratching out. But I've been thinking about sort of mortality and aging and whatever. And so, so this one is about that. So silver hair in the mirror, doesn't look familiar. Color of a spoon, a medal for having this much life.
Oh, this is so great.
Wow.
Thank you.
This was so sweet. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I love that. And then the repetition and the mirroring, translating one color into another and then one word to another. Yeah, I love everything so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really like the scratched out words.
Oh.
It added something really cool and really nice. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
I see Rebecca, then Kate, then Michaela.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So the record is playing. The music flows out of the window. But we are still in the room. Until the song has ended.
Oh,
Wow.
Just a short time. Yeah.
yeah, it's so wonderful. And I love the painting
Thank you.
style and the moods. Yeah, it's really nice.
Thanks.
That was great.
you.
Thank you for sharing, Rebecca. We have Kate next.
Hi, I'm not gonna describe it, just gonna show my panels. When I didn't just do 4 panels, I actually treated myself to 4 pieces of paper, I figured.
Wow.
So I could stretch out a little bit. Okay, so which is first? Okay. Sorry about the bright light, but here you go. Immediate observation. You start a story, but you don't know what it's about. Because you had us do that. You had us just start without knowing what. Then you notice that you gave yourself square hair and a heart on your lower back.
Oh, nice.
Referring to this. Yes, because I was just drawing.
Yeah.
Okay. The turn. So, what nonsense. Is it too late to turn it around? Boots.
Love it. Nice.
Yes, too late. Keep going.
And then you have grown wings or hair and eyes and
Yeah.
stockings.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, what unconsciously started with drawing the character really goofy, like just like, yeah, we're not gonna wrap it up. We're just gonna go off up the mountain.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's gonna keep going. That's the conclusion that that keeps going.
Just kidding. So yeah, it's about comics. Like there's a lot, I've noticed other people drawing about drawing. So
That was great, Kate. Thanks for sharing that. We have Michaela next, then Sarah, Sam, and Nancy.
All right, I was working on my, can you see it okay? Yeah, I guess. Usual topics about Germany and usually not in a very nostalgic way. But these I always have my own material, but these workshops give me different prompts and different ways to think about it. So after you showed the waterfall or the smoke rising above the mountain, I was trying to think of a beautiful image of Germany. And so this one, it says, vineyards stretch from the Rhine River. Next page is the text is up here. I worked, what does it say? I worked in the harvest there twice. It was really exhausting. I don't feel much nostalgia for Germany, least of all the Rheingau, which is like a touristy name for this area. Anyway, this was fun. This is great. It always gives me a new way to think about stuff.
Wow.
That's great. Thank you for sharing.
Thank
The
you.
drawings are so beautiful.
Really nice. Thank you. There's Sarah, Sin, Nancy. Did you get the unmute, Sarah? There we go.
Hi. I thought for sure I would end up doing nature, just because of how calming this all is, but I ended up with a sneaker, just based on just right after school pickup today. So is that backwards for you? I see it backwards. It says we got new sneakers today, big enough to last all year, we hope. Your feet are bigger than mine now. Where will they take you? And that was just, an hour, 2 hours ago.
Wow, this is really beautiful, and I love how it all came together with the sneaker and then the footprints and where it would take you. It's a great place to end.
Thank you. It was nice to reflect. These are beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. We have Sin next, then Nancy and Rebecca.
Hi. So this is my chicken lady, and she's noticing that autumn is coming. All the plants are dead. Very depressing time of the year. What to do? Leave.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
The ending is so unexpected, but also feels inevitable. To summarize the moods.
Thank you.
So funny too.
Thanks, Sin. There's Nancy.
So let's see. Hi, everybody. Here's the first two panels. Can you read? It looks backwards to me. But you can see it.
We can see it the right way.
You can see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
we see it we see it the way that, yeah, it's not backwards.
Okay, I'll try to get my fingers off of it too. So this also is a scene that takes place right in front of me. I'm looking out the window into the little bit of urban outdoor area that I have in this urban environment. And it says, the HOA wants me to remove the lattice with fake leaves from my balcony. And I took pictures of the writing so I can read it as I go along. They wrote me a letter that said the lattice violated the CCNRs, forbidding structural changes to the common area, AKA my balcony. Okay, where's the next picture? I can read the words. And the letter says, you must remove the lattice from your balcony, ... blah, 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 $50 fine. And I'm saying, what the? And then I lay awake all night, plotting my revenge through a legalistic yet cleverly crafted email. With my cat lying awake, and it says, first of all, oops, I keep losing the words here. Yeah. It says, first of all, this is not a structural change. It is faux fencing tied to the balcony with string. And there's my cat, Max. He's watching me. And then the last one says, the next day, I toned down the email and sent it. but I removed the venom and let go of the outcome. And
Hmm.
there she is saying, taking poison, resentment is like taking poison and hoping the other person will die.
Okay.
So there you go.
I love the turn is the through the night. It does take us through something, but then in a way that doesn't break the story at all. Thank you.
I had fun doing it. It's good. It's a good topic. And thanks, Yao, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. We have Rebecca next, then Jeb and Mishka, Maggie and Edgar.
Thank you. Thank you, Yao. This is really fun. So the first panel says, the late summer light falls on the crazy ficus plant. Kate gave me the pot when she moved to Portugal. It is dark green. And then third panel. Back then, the ficus was almost dead. It had just one leaf left. Now, the number of leaves it has and the degree of craziness of its branches is an indication of how long she's been gone.
Oh,
Wow.
That's so nice. Wow. Yeah, thank you. I've been so inspired by seeing everyone's results of how this form can flourish into yeah, these comics are so reflective and surprising.
Thanks for sharing, Rebecca. Jeb's up next.
I tend to, in trying to organize all my thoughts, I wrote more than the little panels, but first panel says, I shipped out packages and received some today. And then I love that they can be whatever you want them to be. Reusing boxes, mailers, stickers, and paper. And then people in my life sometimes wonder why I keep everything. It's kind of I didn't really get the image, but I wanted the words. And then my grandma used to ask me to tear fabric into thin strips with my fingers. This panel here. And using scraps to tie up the tomatoes in her garden. They were the envy of the town. This is the last panel with a little evil eye, because we are Greek, so this was in Greece in her garden.
Wow. Yeah, it took us somewhere else, and starting from somewhere so different. Yeah, it's really great.
Thank you. Yeah, I reusing stuff is so fun, and I didn't know where I was gonna go with that. I just thought maybe I would expand on that, and then I remembered that like sensory feeling of tearing the fabric, and it took me there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Jeb. Mishka's next.
Hi. I'm gonna hide
Hello.
behind my background. So you asked us to be immediate, so I'm sitting on my couch and the setting sun pours through this window, making a puddle of light. The maple glows to match the bright sofa. Bright sunspots float over the living room and bougainvillea. The prism casts a bright rainbow on the ceiling. So warm, so sleepy. I deserve my nickname, Kochichka. I'll wake up hours later.
Wow.
That means kitty.
Oh, so beautiful.
Nice. Love the colors.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. So great.
All right.
I see Maggie, but I need you to come on camera to share. Okay.
Hi. I also wanted to go somewhere a little more humorous with this one. It's a beautiful evening. The cricket songs are soothing. Time to get to work. I love my job.
It is so funny. It's just the beginning is so so serious about the beautiful. And I love my job. I love them.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Thanks for sharing, Maggie. Ed Grizza?
Well, thank you, Michael, and I appreciate the inspiration from Yao. And let's see, can you see? Yes, in your honor, I attempted Chinese calligraphy styling of my title, which I call Saga of the Moon Princess and the Moon Boy. And I spilled pastel pencil shavings on my paper, but I decided to move them around so you'll see abstract designs underneath the panels. In heaven, the two mothers arrange for the meeting of their two children. And the one mother, Rosalinda, says, centuries of love continue like the poles of two magnets. And Jean says, the flowers must have water to flourish. How else could we have met? And there I am saying, I wonder in my thoughts, why am I drawn to this woman from Mexico? And she thinks to herself, why do I consider? On business in New York, she accepts my offer to attend a concert in Washington, D.C., which she enjoys very much, but she's worried about what will happen to her in the night if she doesn't go back to New York. And will you allow me to live under a bridge tonight? And I say, no, I will find a hotel room for you on this Valentine's Day weekend, which was very tough, but I did. The next day at the Four Seasons brunch, we meet again and we realize that we are both special. Why do I think of the moon rising over the Aztec pyramid? And she says, we are the majesties. So anyway, thank you for allowing me to share this and to apply some of your principles, Yao.
Well, thank you very much. Especially in the second and third panel, I just can't stop laughing. It is, and I love your drawing style too, with the little bit of abstraction.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have time for just a couple more shares. If you don't get to share, please post what you did to social media. I see Goatee or Marlene next. Did you get Marlene, did you get the prompt to unmute? You know what, I'm gonna spotlight the next person and then come back to you. So keep that hand raised and I'll find you. Here we go. Hi.
Hi, I'm Jen Jen. This is my comic called Seal, Seal, Seal.
I love that.
This is Cecilia the Seal. Cecilia is bored. Cecilia is drunk. Cecilia is asleep. And this is inspired by Cecilia and a bottle of kombucha.
This is great. I have a plush seal named Cecile. Cecile. That is great. I love the turn if this Cecilia is drunk. That one is unusual. And then it keeps going. I love it. Thank you.
So I'm trying to find Marlene so we can go back, but I don't. Can you raise your hand again, Marlene, if you're there? I'm scrolling, I don't see Marlene. Okay. I see a couple of, but I'm not sure, is a couple of hands still up. Nancy, I think we already saw Nancy. Michaela. I see another name I'm scared to pronounce. I see Christian. Christian, would you like to share? Do you see the unmute prompt? There we are.
Hello. So basically, it's what I draw is this. I haven't finished it, but this is what I draw. Basically, it's our alignment of like basically trying to like put things together or something. Feels like everything falls apart right here.
Wow.
No
I feel
control.
like the moon really inspires us in many
Yeah.
ways. Wow, very cool. Thank you for sharing.
Thank Christian. Did Marlene come back? Yeah, Michaela wanted to ask a question about sharing.
Yeah, I have a question. When you show on Instagram and you use the hashtag Friday Night Comics or Friday Night Comics Workshop, I noticed that in recent months it always shows you the same things over and over, and it only shows a very limited number of posts. Has anyone else dealt with that, and how do you get around that?
You know what? I'm not sure.
It's like it shows the same 15 to 20 posts over and over from like past workshops.
Yeah.
And as much I try to trick it, but yeah, I just wondered if anybody had advice. So you only see like I have to go on Instagram, I go to the home function and then I'll see people's posts because I know them because they're my friends, right? They're like we follow each other on Instagram. But the hashtag doesn't really work anymore.
I noticed that too, and I don't know why.
I see some answers in the social algorithms have broken. Yeah, that's yeah. Public or private profile. Anyway, we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. I just thought I'd bring it up
I
because I
think
love seeing everybody else's, but I don't get to see them, you know.
I think it shows the ones with the most engagement, which kind of stinks. That's what it looks like to me, and that's why you're seeing the same ones. So then it
Probably you're
becomes
right.
less of a community experience and more like a popularity contest. I don't know why. But
That's a good point.
but tag me, Sisyphus Jones, because I always want to see it. And tag Tom Hutch Owen at Hutch Owen, so he sees it.
Okay.
Um,
Thanks. Yeah.
okay, I see one more person wants to share, and then we can say goodnight. I'm afraid to pronounce your name because I'll get it wrong.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
I can say it. Yeah, thank you. I wasn't going to share, but if there's a bit of time, since there's a bit of time, I'll share. I followed I like the Chinese influence, so I followed or added some Japanese influence. I made it a tanka, so neko ga naku, the cat scream. What is this? Onaka ga suita, they are hungry. I have two cats, if you can tell. Demo mudada, but it is useless. Sekai ga hidoi. The world is cruel. That's it. Thanks.
Cats. Thank you for
Oh, they got
sharing.
fed though, so it's all good now.
So the world is now cruel. Yeah, the conclusion leave us questioning the world. I love that.
I loved hearing it in two languages. So I'm going to, everybody can unmute themselves now. This is traditionally where we just say thanks to the guest artist, Yao.
I can
Thank
hear you
you,
now,
Yao.
Michael.
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Yao.
much.
Good night.
This was
This
amazing.
This was super
amazing.
fun.
Thank you.
Bye.
For a wonderful
So
session,
great. Thank you.
everybody.
Michael, I got
Everybody, I
your
loved
voice
seeing your
now.
comics.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so
Good
many
night.
ways to do this.
Thank you so much.
Now I lost you on the grid. Yeah, there you are. Any closing thought to send us off into the weekend with?
It's Madeline here.
Thank you. I've never experienced that. Thank you before. It was that was wonderful. So thank you everyone so much, and I hope that you get to experience this some more. Somebody has fireworks going on, and wow, that's beautiful. Somehow that's not me. This week there was a Chinese festival on Tuesday. It's the Mid-Autumn Festival. So the comic that I shared in the beginning about the moon, that's one of the widely shared poetry about the moon. So I'm really glad to introduce this art form for you, and I got to experience a poetry comic party that's very much in the spirit of this type of poetry composition and improvisation. So it's really, really lucky for me to experience this and share it with you. So I really appreciate your time and Saul, of course. And thank you, Michael, for keeping me on time and facilitating such a wonderful sharing and discussion.
Thank you, Yao. Yeah, and don't forget to tag Yao if you post to Instagram and follow her, which I just did at the beginning of this workshop. I put her contact information into the chat. And thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great weekend or whatever day it is where you are. Keep making comics, everybody. Bye-bye.
Happy creating.
Michael, have you got a minute?
Oh, you're back. I looked for you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still
Could
want to
I
share?
show mine? I don't know what is going on.
I will hang on.
Yeah, we'll hang on. Everybody will hang on.
Thank you. Should I start?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so mine is I'm claiming to know how to write Japanese as of today. So in the introduction beginning of my work, there's a little poem I wrote. Crane up high, so very vain, changing lives just like sci-fi. So you can see the cranes over there perched on the top of the building. And this is a typical scene in Sydney, Australia, with all the cranes on top of buildings because there's a boom in buildings. Then secondly, the follow-up of the first panel, as you can see from the picture, and I'm reading the poem, continuing, MS-DOS, push, rush, people blush, the network crush. That's when the network was crashing way back then and even now. The next panel with the waterfall, which is the turn of events, as Zhao said. I put breathe, relax. There's a future which is bright, gentle water falling. And there you can see the lady with a little kitten and the lovely water falling from the ravine. Then finally, the landscape, the conclusion. I drew a landscape with mountains and a slow flowing river with an empty table purposely to indicate possibilities for the future. And that was the end.
Wow. Thank you for sure. I'm glad we got you because I know last time you were having internet problems. So it was great to see your work this time.
Yeah, but I thank you for squeezing me in. And this workshop is really one of them that I really enjoyed and stands out. So thank you so much to you and to Zhao. I hope I'm saying her name properly.
Thank you, Marlene. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great weekend.
much.
Bye, Linda. I see you, Linda.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take
Love you.
care.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody.